Yo, what's up, everybody? Your boy JC. Every thoughts is in the building. Everybody gather around. You know what time it is. Today's topic is who seeks more attention on social media, men or women. Have a special guest with me tonight or today, with Quanda Jefferson. We've done a couple of videos together, so you know, I'd to see what she had to say about this subject. So everybody gather around. Hope everybody's having a great and blessed day. Um, well, we got in the chat. What's going on, Hannah? Yeah, waiting on my co-hosts to come join me real quick. So everybody gather around. Hope everyone's having a good and blessed morning. What's going on, Danielle? What's going on, Jocelyn? Okay, you said both, Mika. Why do you say that? Hold on one second. To be patient, be patient, but bring her on. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, give me just a moment.
What's going on with you?
Trying to make sure I have a good enough signal to go through and that I didn't need to connect to Wi-Fi or anything like that.
All right, what's going on with you? How you been? Been doing all right?
I'm good. How are you? Hey, Cliff.
I'm blessed and highly favored. What's going on, Jolly? What's going on, Mika? What's
Good
going on,
morning,
everybody?
everybody.
Yeah, good morning, family. Everybody wake up.
Mhm.
So yeah, though today's topic is who seeks more attention on social media, men or women. For me, I'll start it off this time. I feel like women see most of the attention on social media, whether on Snapchat, whether it's on Instagram, etc. I always view that women always seek the most attention from men. Not to say men don't, but I just feel like it's more of a woman doing it opposed to men. But what's your take, though?
Well, I think you have to explore kind of what the expectation is, right? So if it's a man that's trying to find a woman, then does it make sense for a man to be seeking attention or to be vetting attention or looking for those who are looking to be sought out? And that would be that attention piece. So it makes sense for women to be more attention seeking on social media. But what I see lately and in this climate, you have a lot of guys who are attention seeking, mainly because it's kind of like an accepted norm for guys to be gay. And so that coin is now flipped, where guys have to seek the attention of other guys too. You see? So I think that has a lot to do with it. But also, in general, clout chasing is kind of like the thing. So guys are out here trying to create their platform or create a following of women who admire them so they can look grand to other guys. So all in all, I think it's kind of equal, but I think like I posted on my page the other day, the biggest turnoff for me is a guy who seeks attention on social media. I don't want a guy who needs external validation. I need an alpha male. So an alpha male is a male who knows they're the shit before anybody ever says anything. And even if somebody does say something, they can accept that compliment, keep it moving, but it doesn't validate them. It doesn't make them them. You know, what they see in themselves every day is what makes them who they are. So it's that piece.
Yeah, like I said, I commented on that. I actually laughed. You actually laughed at my comment. You know, that was pretty funny though. But yeah,
Yeah, you
but
know,
yeah,
because
though. I was just talking.
it's not the
I was just
same.
talking mess though.
It's not the same thing when you are trying to create a platform for the generation of conversation, right? So if you're trying to generate kind of like a platform for growth for a talk show or something like that, sort of what you're doing, that's a different thing because that's a whole different arena. But let's just say you got a guy that is a muscle head and he's kind of got all these muscles and stuff like that. You think he's posting his bodies for before and now? No. He's posting his body so that he can draw the attention of women so that they can come on the post and be thirsty. Oh, baby, you're so fine and all this extra stuff. No, it's
I
unnecessary.
think,
I feel like,
well, I mean, like I said, both it works both ways. But I always felt that kind of women kind of use it more because you see a lot of times y'all can post good scriptures, good templates of good passages, what good works to read, you know. But so y'all show your bodies, y'all get all these likes and followers, etc. But y'all just you know actually hey check out this movie, check out this type of poem that I'm writing, you don't get that many likes. But as soon as you switch your picture, it don't matter what time of the day, you're gonna get all these likes and all these, oh hey baby, hey ma, you look so sexy, you're beautiful, you know what I'm saying? So it's like we really, y'all know that as women, y'all value that men, we value y'all's visuals more than anything else, to be honest. We first meet y'all.
men do, but it's a norm for women to be sought after. So it makes sense. You know what I mean? That's just how it's supposed to be. Just to say, or it could be used as motivation to live a healthier lifestyle. I doubt it. Not if the vast majority of his followers are women. That's in pretty good shape. It's not about a lifestyle habit. It's about them, drawing the attention that, you know, they're trying to get from women so that they can get what they need going. Random sex encounters and that kind of stuff. Transparency and accepting and living in your truth is huge with me. So, I mean, I've had several clients, I've treated several people that struggle with self image issues, and these are some of the reasons that they do it. Does it mean that they are lesser than? No, it just means that they're more of the omega male versus the alpha male. But people need to understand the concepts in order to disseminate between the two. And then women, sometimes they enjoy having an omega man because they can train them. You know, they can do more with them. They're more flexible because they don't know what it is to be an alpha, to be a natural born leader. They know what it is, however, to adapt. So it just is what it is. I don't think there's anything wrong with them, but I think for each different personality type, there's a personality type that's a good fit. So I think really that's what it's about. Now, if you see women out here that aren't seeking attention because they don't need it, I don't think that's a problem either.
Yeah, same here.
And the same for men. I don't think that it's a problem to not seek attention. I don't think it's a problem to seek attention. I think that's a normative thing. But if a male is out here seeking attention and you're constantly doing it, just know that that does make you look gay because that's what a woman's supposed to do. A woman's supposed to seek to draw in her pursuer. A man is supposed to pursue. He's not supposed to be looking for people to pursue him, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah, it does. But also, too, you said you don't want a man that wants, they always have to be in the limelight. I think men as well too. I mean, they may say they want that, but at the end of the day, when you get that type of woman and you always got the camera around her, she always have to post stuff for Instagram. She always have to post what she's eating, what she's wearing. I think after a while that can get annoying for a lot of guys, because you kind of want somebody on a low key that they don't mind posting every now and then, but they about their business, they about their career, they kind of business oriented, not just all about the likes and dislikes on social media, etc.
Right. And I mean, because I've been in relationships and as a public figure person and, a person that's kind of spearhead of change and that kind of stuff in the community, I've struggled in certain relationships with certain men because it's like they're like, well, why are they always sending you this or that or whatever? And I'm a really open person. If I'm in a relationship, then you have access to my stuff just like anybody else. So they'll see a lot of the stuff that comes through, a lot of the messages that come through, fan mail and stuff like that. and it bothers them. What I don't like though is in retaliation of that, then all of a sudden you're trying to become this thing that's seen. And I like a guy that's not seen because I like privacy. You know what I mean? In my relationship, I want a certain degree of privacy. I think I'm owed that. I give a lot to public eye, you know, all of my truth is kind of out there. I just want something for me and for me only. So I don't want a guy that's out there that's trying to get the attention. Because what are you getting attention for? What is this for? What are you doing? You know what I mean? If you're still
Yeah,
seeking somebody, go on out there. You know, get your ass out there. Go get what it is that you're trying to get. You know, just don't share the same space as me. It's really that simple.
yeah, that's the thing too. You know, sometimes you might be in a relationship. Now you with her, but before your life was like, yeah, always trying to get all this attention. Now suddenly she's talking about. Now she don't hear you. You know, you're always on Facebook, you're always on Instagram. I can never spend no kind of quality time, etc. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, you're still like you're trying to watch a movie, and next thing you know, your phone keeps, you know, having all these pop-ups and notifications. She's like, why is your phone keep going off? Like, come on, man, turn that shit
It's
off.
yeah, when it's outside of the norm, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I remember this one. It's just so funny. I dated this one guy. When I met him, he was like, "Oh, I don't have friends. I don't hang out, so you don't have to worry about me hanging out with the guys or all of a sudden going and hanging out with my friends and stuff like that. I just want a woman that I can spend time with." All da 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 da. And then all of a sudden, oh, I'm talking to my friend, or I'm doing this, or this, oh, that's a friend. You know, you got all these different people now popping up out of the woodworks that are all of a sudden friends. New women you're adding on Facebook, new guys on Facebook, new everybody on Facebook, all of these extra friends that you're talking to. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, well, you know, enjoy your time with your friends. And then, you know, once I become disinterested, I'm disinterested. Once things are distrustful, it's distrustful. And I kind of move along. I don't believe in wasting people's time. You need to find you. If you're still finding you, why are you trying to find someone else? I think attention seeking is one of those things that people do when they're trying to find themselves and see how well they gel with whomever. You know what I mean? And that's just kind of that's what women are made for. Women are meant to put themselves out there so that the men can seek them out and they can find their purpose with their man.
Yeah, but think about only issue with that is that you want a man to value not just your body but your mind, soul, and spirit. You know, a lot of times you can get all the likes in the world, but a lot of times that's just for sexual access. You know, and I hate when women talk about, oh, I got all the options, I got all the options. These dudes checking me out, but it'd be weird. A lot of dudes just want to have sex with you. So, you know, thus your ego got to be, you know, more intact because it's like a lot of them brothers just want to have sex with you. They ain't trying to like marry you or walk you down the aisle or take you to kind of barbecue, cookouts, you know, meet the family, etc. They just want, you know, the good time. So, which I don't have an
But
issue with
you
that
know,
as long as y'all being
but
honest with each other.
that's not an issue with a lot of women though. The climate of society today is not the same as it was before. So me being a woman who's highly sought after for sex or whatever purposes, sex is something that women need too. You know, women need sex just as more than men. Let's put it be honest. So if she's got a lot of options for her sexual selection, then yeah, that means something to her. But it just depends on what kind of person you're dealing with. And to answer Justin's question, no, I don't think that I'm not one who's ever wanted attention, but I've always been a very, very attractive female, and so I've always gotten the attention. That's the answer to your question. It's not something that has ever been a desired component. I was always the popular girl in school, the popular girl around the neighborhood, the popular girl wherever I went, the one that was cute, the one that was beautiful, the one that was this. Oh, she's so exotic, she's mixed, da 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 da. So all of these things, that's my life. That's the life I live. It is what it is. And it's not something that was chosen. It's something that society chooses for you. Now, whether or not you own it, embrace it, and all the extra stuff, it's up to you. That's just not something that I do because the nature of a lot of my work requires a certain level of discretion. So, that's not it. I prefer a guy who wants to stay out of the limelight. However, because then we have a more decreased possibility that we're going to be plastered somewhere doing the wrong thing. You know what I mean? You just privacy. I feel like privacy between two people is the most important component in building something that's nurtured and properly vetted when it comes to companionship. You got to have that. You got to have that some shared secrecy between the two of you only.
Yeah,
Because I feel like there are a lot of details out there, about my previous relationships, marriage, and stuff like that. But there's a lot of stuff that's definitely not, you know, because that stuff that's privileged to myself and that other entity. Make sense?
yeah, yeah. But like I said, you do want to be in situations where y'all don't really need to be on social media. Y'all need to have the kind of notoriety. Because the best relationships, the best ones I've encountered are the ones that not really, everything got to be posted on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Everything is just kind of in house. Everything is sacred within themselves. You're not the type of one to sit there. They talk a lot. They're worried about focusing on building. They're focused on communication within themselves, and not going to sit up there and blast each other on social media, etc. So you do have like a baby father that may be mad at. She's not going to go on Instagram or Facebook and call you out, and vice versa for the men. It's like everything's going to be in house or the dialect between the two, and not for the public.
Right. You got to have some level of discretion. But I feel like this is a climate of attention seeking. The clout thing is very big. So I don't feel like it's something that is one sided. And I do feel like because of the increase in the number and the acceptance of gay men, you're going to see that. It's going to be pretty level when it comes to men on social media trying to find attention and women trying to draw in attention. I think both of them equally now have just as much benefit in marketing themselves out there on social media, if you will, for relationships and that kind of stuff. Because that's how a lot of people meet, social media now. Nothing is in person hardly ever anymore. I mean, and it's interesting to me. I've always dated the guy that is pretty well known too, because you got to be out there to draw my attention anyway, because I'm kind
Hey,
of like
hey,
walking
hey,
through life
hey, hey.
blindly. I'm saying, I just do. I have blinders on. I walk, I just do what I do. I'm very focused. So for women like that, I think some guys do have to kind of they have to go the extra mile and vet really hard and pursue her very, hard, because you have to be that guy to get my attention and then to keep my attention. So I've always dated the guy that's kind of like, ooh, for a lot of women. So it doesn't bother me if they do have attention. It's just that I prefer to be with someone that's not trying to draw the attention in. Let's put it like that. If he's got it, it's a natural thing. Um, Let me see. Stacy said, according to my timeline, man. But Stacy, is your timeline? Good morning? Do you have the vast majority of your followers as men or women?
Yeah, that would explain a lot.
Yeah, logically speaking, I think it's about equal, because if people weren't looking for a certain kind of attention, they wouldn't even be on social media. No, I don't think so. I think social media, especially for me, social media is a platform to keep in contact with like family. Like because my family is everywhere and I don't have family in the state that I live in. It's nobody. So
Oh,
yeah, and oftentimes I would be places, because I'm retired army. So I would be places in countries where there is no body, period, even within a traveling reach. So for me, it's about, oh, you don't have to pick up the phone. You can actually see them and what's going on. And at first for me it was MySpace, and tagged and that kind of stuff. But then when these things evolved to like other platforms or different type of platform. Then and Facebook, came out and it got kind of large. Then we moved there, but for us, it's for that. So I think for everybody, it's something very different. Now, if you say something like Snapchat, yeah, I kind of see where you're going with that. Because that's why everything is 24 hours. It's meant to draw that attention for you to be on and on and on it, to look at that person, you know what I mean? To catch them within that 24-hour time frame, to see what they're doing and to follow them closely. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
any
though.
more
But then also too,
comments?
no, also too, you was talking about you like keeping up with family and stuff, but I just feel like the social media kind of ruin relationships. I don't mean just intimate ones, just ones in general, because you have so many options to choose from. That way you don't see people going out to the bar, going out to the clubs, you're going out to social blocks. Everything's at the top of your hands.
I don't know about that, because I feel like people are going to have options regardless, if they're focused, if they're dedicated to what it is that they feel like is for them, which is the relationship that they're in. Then you don't have to worry about that. The interesting thing for me, I met this guy. He's really, really attractive and that kind of stuff. We went on a date, and then we were talking about what it looks like for him dating. For guys, that's kind of one of the main questions I'm asking all the time. So are you faithful in a relationship? I mean, how often do you cheat? It's weird. Like, who's gonna tell you they're a cheater? But so why not? Let's ask the question anyway. So, and he was just like, no, he was like, I like to focus on, one person at a time. And I thought that was really interesting, the way that he articulated it, because he was just like, if I find something that I'm interested in, I focus on that thing until it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, then I move on to another thing, basically. And it has to be a mutual agreement between myself and that person. For me, I'm like, oh wow, that's interesting to see a guy, give that, in this climate and in this generation of men, in that way. Because I think that's really important, because a lot of people are out here dating and just kind of date aimlessly. It's purposelessly, they don't have a reason as to why they're out here dating. They're just like, oh, okay, well, free meal. I will meet you in a damn parking lot. And that's the date. It's over with. We can't have a conversation in the parking lot if you don't look like your photos or video, whatever. If anything is out of whack and we don't
What?
gel
You tell me I'm
well,
a catfish?
have a nice day.
I'm a
Hmm?
catfish?
What'll
I'm a
happen?
catfish? Am I a catfish?
Well, I don't know. I've not met you in person yet, but we do video. So video is
Yeah,
typically it's pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate.
yeah, I could be a catfish in real life though.
But I've had people tell me that all the time. They're like, I bet you a catfish and all that stuff. And then I'm like, okay. Well, one could be, I guess. I could definitely successfully use somebody else's photos, because I hear that myself and Regina, whatever her name is, pretty close in similarity. So, but I feel like if people are not representing themselves out there, they're doing themselves an injustice and the other person, because you may jail well with them, but now you're a whole different person, and it's not right. But I think that's one of the second reasons that people put themselves out there, men and women, because they want to be noticed. They want people to like them.
Yeah, that's true though, but you gotta have your own identity and know who you are. Because a lot of times we associate ourselves with our jobs, our careers, our car, our money, etc., not who the person we are inside, and that's what you gotta go by. Who are you without everything around you? When you're in your bed at night, who are you? That's what you gotta understand. That people, they may like you, they love you, but at the end of the day, it's all about how you feel about yourself, how you judge, and how are you motivating yourself to make sure that you're making a good decision for yourself to project onto other people.
Well, I think that goes to primary and secondary identity crisis. People go through identity crisis twice in life. They go through it initially when they're, kind of the late teen to early adulthood life, span, and then they go through it again once they're kind of toward the middle stage of life, or what we call midlife crisis, because they're trying to figure out whether or not who they are, where they're going. For one, that's the initial, and then what does their network of people or their environment or their system say about them. And then once they get to the later stage of life, now they're trying to figure out, have I accomplished what I figured I'd do? Has my life unfolded the way that I thought these layers would? And have I been successful in articulating that this is the life that I wanted? And people struggle with that.
Yeah, that's true. You gotta be the person you are online, in person, at the coffee shop. You have to be universally who you are, and not try to put on no kind of mask to disguise because you gotta, own your truth, just be who you are. That's a lot of people, they can respect who you are and who you say you are and what you're about. 'Cause actions always speak louder than words. So you always gotta be cautious of whatever you're putting out there and stuff.
I like Steven's comment about looking on their personal pages and seeing what they post. I don't know if that's such an adequate presentation of who the person is, though, because here's the other thing, okay? Every single human being is in a constant state of evolution. So if you're always becoming, you're never one particular way. You're becoming whoever it is that you're meant to be over your lifespan every single day. So you're growing, you're maturing, hopefully, while you grow. All of these things are a part of you becoming you. So you have to go through spurts of your life where your character is definitely going to shift. So you may see something that someone posted on their Facebook page when they're at a different level or a different plane, or they struggle with dealing with distress and anxiety. You don't know what made that person post those things that they posted. I think that has nothing to do with their character. It has to do with the fact that at that moment, that point in their lives, at that stage of their life, they were impulsive, maybe, right? Or on the flip side, at that stage of their life, they were more balanced. Doesn't mean that they're balanced now. No. You don't know what's going on in a person's life. It means that that's what you're looking at. So you can't look at the history of a man and define the man's character. You can only look at the actions of a man and define their character by their current potential for growth. So a person's capacity, a person's potential, those things are what matter when it comes to you trying to disseminate what their character is or is not, right? What they're currently doing and what they have the potential to do. Because where are their ideals? What are you thinking right now in this moment? What has shaped how you feel? What have you learned about life? These are things that tell you about their character, the lessons that they're learning and applying to their everyday life, and that they can attribute to future, endeavors. So,
Yeah, like I said, it's all about how they're projecting forward. You don't want to look back, even though sometimes you do have to look bad as far as the person's past, but you got to realize that's what their mind state was back then. But somebody can have a new mind frame today or next week, next month, and just be something positive. So, or negative. So you always got to look, and like you always have to look beyond just what you see on the surface level or what you see in the past footprints. So you always got to try to see how is that person going, kind of direction this person going, because like I said, somebody could be in jail for 20 years, and then next 20 years they're doing well off, and you wouldn't know that they had that past criminal record because of how they acted right now. So, you just always have to be cautious of whoever you choose to deal with.
right, because at
Not
the end
try
of
to
the
misjudge
day,
everything about their past relationships and past experiences because that's what needed to happen so they can be the person that they are today.
right. And then it's about the energy. Like what energy are you inviting into your life? Do you really know this person? Do they really know themselves? And like I said, when it comes to kind of figuring out who you are, when people are going through crisis, when they're trying to figure out where they're going in their lives, it makes it more difficult if they don't have that external validation. So that's what attention seeking does. It gives a certain degree of external validation to that person. And I feel like if I'm with a guy who needs that, who craves that, who fiends for that, that's a no-go for me. You know, for me, just where I am in my life, I don't need that. And if you need external validation, I'm okay with it. I'm not judging you, but at the end of the day, you're just not for me. It's not what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? It might be for somebody else.
Yeah, like I said, ain't nothing wrong with
You
that
might
though.
be a
Ain't nothing
great
wrong with
fit.
that. It's not for you.
Yeah,
No, I always say you gotta
right.
go by your core values, know who
Yeah,
you
you got
are,
to
what
know
you
what
stand
works
for.
for you, because
Yeah.
some people are looking for a person that needs that external validation. Think about a narcissistic person, they need a person who is more codependent or dependent personality or codependent, right? They need somebody that depends on them to validate who they are, to walk in the way that they walk. Because if they have a person that's independent, that knows who they are, that's going to challenge everything that they are as far as their personality type, as far as the narcissism. So you need to be with somebody that's codependent and somebody that needs external validation. For me, I just need that guy who does not need the external validation.
All right.
Hannah seems to think that it's actually the opposite. What is actually the opposite? But so, um, it's just, I think it's just what works for you. Finding out what works for you, your personality type. What's a good fit for you?
Yeah, like I said, all day back to your core values, your core needs. What works for you may not work for somebody else, and that's okay. Everybody different.
Hmm.
Everybody has different attributes, whether they're strong, whether they're weak at, and that's why it's always important to find people that have similar attention, similar mind space, etc. Candace said narcissistic people that are dependent, but they mask their limitations.
No, they don't mask their limitations, and they're not dependent at all. So, what makes a narcissistic person narcissistic is an internal power trip of grandeur. If inside they need a dependent person to validate every step of the way. If they don't have that, they drop that person and they move to another person that's dependent, because otherwise they can't maintain the facade that they live in every single day, if that makes sense. Um, the mental health side of things can be very, very difficult to explain to people, to lay people. And the thing is, I tell people all the time, they throw around the word narcissist like they really understand it, and they don't. So, narcissistic personality disorder and histrionic personality are very similar to one another. And what you're talking about is more histrionic, not narcissistic. But a narcissistic person is a person, just their belief system is that they are great, regardless of, they don't need to mask anything. So when you need to mask things, it's because you believe something different. They don't believe anything different. They don't. Doesn't matter what you can, it could be a slap in the face, completely something that, refutes what it is that they're trying to present, and they're still going to argue the latter because they are great, and they have to try and tear you down in order for them to continue to feel great. You understand? So that's just one of those key characteristics. They don't survive in cases where people are independent, because if they have an independent person, it's going to cause one-up communication.
All right, your Hannah, she dropped a link I see. Prove once and for all that narcissists are deeply insecure. So I guess he has a link. Want to check that out later?
Hmm. um I mean, blogs are blogs. The DSM-5 is our diagnostic manual for disorders. So, I mean, now that's not to say that the blogger that you're referring to they're looking at the person being insecure. That has nothing to do with personality type. That just describes that person's internal validation system, or what their emotional attachments are. And typically narcissists are created by inadequate, insecure attachment bonds. So that does make sense. Internally they're insecure, but it doesn't have anything to do with the security or the pragmatics of their personality type. The personality type is very independent, and it challenges everything, because it needs to be on the forefront. It needs to be grand. So in order for it to maintain that, it needs a dependent personality type. Like if you look at people who are in relationships with narcissists, they get beat down pretty bad. But it doesn't mean that those particular relationships don't thrive, because I've had several couples come in for therapy and we can balance that thing out. Because if that other person is codependent personality type, then they have a really good balance. What you have to learn is how to control the narcissistic personality tendencies to break that person down completely and help them balance.
Okay, Hannah's saying I was a social therapist, so she kind of knows about human behaviors, etc.
That's what I do.
All right. Yeah, though. As far as the question, let's go back to the topic. As far as who seeks more attention, men or women, like I said, both do it. I've always said women do it a lot more, but there are men that do it. So, you know,
Right, Stephen. I was looking at his comment. Yeah,
yeah.
so for external, so understand this. To need external validation is different than to have external validation and have it be healthy. So those are two different, completely different thought processes. So if a person needs external validation, that means that in order for me to get up and go and do something today, in order for me to feel good about myself, I can't look myself in the mirror and say, you're great. I need somebody else to come in here and tell me, you're great, you can do this today. And then I'm going to be moved to do the things that I have to do today, versus that internal self-talk. Self-talk does not work for people who need, crave for, thrive on external validation. So external validation or praise can be healthy, but it can also be stagnating. Because when you tell a person, oh, you're great for this position, you're great